fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Dorzaya, who, him and his allies, they have made it to the demi-human nation. They have crossed the border and have participated in the war front. Now, Midoriya, he assumed his dragon form, where he took out what can be best described as a titan. This thing was around the size of a large mountain. And the humans, they knew that if that thing got close enough to them, it can annihilate their forces with the single swing of its large weapon. Now, this is an ancient beast, and it was killed. Now, the humans, they were surprised, shocked, and impressed. The hero, he has given them a large advantage in the fight. However, whenever he did advance into demi-human territory, they did know that he dropped out of his large form. And it was assumed he was killed in the bombardment by the demi-human mages, who were quite literally throwing everything they got at one single area of land. And they turned that 1 mile long area of land that was covered in a lush forest into nothing more than a barren glass floor. Now, this was quite sad. The hero, he has died for his country. However, he did not die in vain. He took out a large number of the enemy forces and gave them at least an advantage in the war. And they did begin to at least make their way in advance. As the demi-humans, they did stumble backwards, but quickly tried to go offensively. Now, this is where we do actually pick up with Midoriya, who, after transforming into, well, a wolf man, we do have his appearance. Midoriya knows that his strange hair, it is out of the ordinary for this world. So he's changed it to black. He's given himself a wolf tail because, unlike a cat's tail, it doesn't wag around and move, well, freely. Midoriya hasn't mastered that ability of, well, transformation yet. However, he does also have the wolf ears, and he even removed his Dragon Slayer markings and the scars covering his face and body. Now, Midoriya, he was proclaimed dead on the battlefield 2 weeks ago, as the word would reach the king and queen of the hero's death. As we do currently have where they're both sitting on the throne, and the king, hearing this, he does smile, proclaiming to his man, he does bring up his hand, that the hero will be remembered for his efforts in the war. Now, you do actually have the princess, who she does sit there shocked. He's dead. That can't be true. She wanted to clear up a misunderstanding, and she ended up enslaved by her own father. And the only man who knew about it who can help her is dead. Now, the princess, she was heartbroken about this. Her crying as she does maintain a normal look to her. Now, the king, he would turn to his daughter, and he does see tears rolling down her face, as he does dismiss her to her quarters. Now, she would leave, as we do pick up with Midoriya, roughly 2 weeks into the demi-human nation. Now, Midoriya, he is currently standing in the middle of a river with, well, his pant legs rolled up, as he also does at least have what would appear to be a handmade wooden spear. And he is just thinking, they have to be careful around here. This place is very different. From what he's heard, the demi-human nation is 10 times the size of the nation of the humans on this side of, well, the world. Now, it was quite impressive. Midoriya, he knew this was quite strange. However, he didn't know exactly how far this does go. Now, Midoriya, he does wait, as he does hear a fish before turning and stabbing directly at where it is without looking. Him then pulling up his spear and seeing a fish. Now, him and Lee, they do spearfish for some time, as they do actually fry them up and do eat them. Now, as the fish are currently cooking on the fire, you do have Midoriya, who he has decided to take a look at the passive skills. He does want to help out the princess. That is a personal matter. However, he does also see this as somewhat of a learning lesson. It sounds very messed up, and it somewhat does go against his own ideology. The princess, she is enslaved by her parents. However, this is also somewhat of an avenue he can exploit. He doesn't much care for her. However, it's the matter that she's being controlled that he's worried about. If he does take out both of her parents and she does take the throne, it would be the best option he can see for that nation. Since she does have previous experience being under someone else's control, she would know it's a bad thing, beginning to outlaw the practice. Now, there is also another matter. The fact that the king was there for Midoriya's big debut in a gladiatory arena. Midoriya knows for a fact that the humans, they all would just begin to start making these practices under the table. Instead of it being out in the open and, well, in nice lit places, they'd be, well, more and more secretive. And the matters would be worse for demi-humans. So, if the princess does spend some time under enslavement, this could be an advantage to where she would make the practices harsher and harsher as punishments for doing this to people. Along with that, Midoriya does want to take out the lords and nobles of the human nation. Since if he does take them all out in one swift move, then demi-humans would have it easier in that land. And the only people who would be doing it would be low-life bandits who could be caught and executed immediately, instead of people who could hide behind money and laws. Now, Midoriya is thinking all this, trying to plan everything out in his head. They are quite a bit of ways away from the demi-human capital. About 1 month. And Midoriya, he was shocked to hear about it all. And we do actually have where he's spec'd into a few passive skills. Him leveling up his cooking skills and at least crafting abilities. And Midoriya, he did actually find it surprising whenever a few things he did recognize popped up on his crafting menus. Now, Midoriya, he did gather the ingredients earlier, and he did make a sample item that he does want to show them about. Called a small little taste of Japan. However, he does want to show them exactly how things were back in his world. All of them watching as Midoriya, he does do one simple thing. As he does pop open a small little vial of what they believe to be an elixir, Midoriya, he does go to hold of the fish and pour it on it. As he does then hand it out to Bell. asking her if she would like to try this. Hmm? Dorzaya, what is that? Hmm? This little thing? Hmm. I made it. It's, well, from my cooking menu. Hmm? Cooking menu? Well, it's something back from where I would call home. It's, well, soy sauce. Hmm? What is soy sauce? Uh, actually, as it's a really nice tasting item. It improves flavors to food. It's like the seasonings back in the kingdom, but this is a little bit different. Now, Maria would pour some soy sauce and then hand one to Lee. Her going to grab this kebab from Midoriya as she does then sniff it. She does smell hints of salt. Along with that, it does smell funny. Now, Midoriya would pour one onto his fish. She does then go to hand the vial over to Ray, asking if she would like to try some. Now, she does grab her own food and put some soy sauce on it. The three trying it as Midoriya, he does go to bite into his fish, and he does not hardly react. However, he does look at the stunned impressions that are on the three's faces. As all of them, they do want to know exactly how is this item made? Where is it produced? They've never tasted anything like this. Now, Midoriya he would explain it a bit, talking about how it's a part of his native culture. And it does just surprise them more. This man, he speaks of things they've never known, things they've never heard of. And it's all quite insane. Now, Midoriya he does somewhat laugh, as they all do eat fish and then head in for the night. Now, we do have Midoriya he is currently lying under the stars, and he is thinking about it. Okay, so what should I do? How do I explain this to the ruler of this nation, this land? Okay, it makes no sense. Hi, I'm, well, a human from the other country that you're going up against with in war. And, well, I've slaughtered about a couple thousand of your men trying to get here and have this conversation with you. By the way, if I kill the king of the other country, would you be willing to negotiate with his daughter? Yeah. That conversation does not sound like it would go very well, especially if Midori just walks into the capital and asks for this. It might take some time, and the princess, she might have to wait. However, he does know that it would be a necessary evil, you could say. Allowing the princess to be enslaved, but at the same time building a good reputation with this country itself. Now, we do actually have where Belle, she would actually walk up and ask Dorzaya if he's still awake. Yeah, I am. He would say sitting up. Him seeing her, as she does just look down at him. What's up? Well, I had a few questions. Roy telling her to sit down and ask if she does wish. Okay. Well, I was wondering, what level are you? Oh. Well, I'm level 127. Oh. You gained 55. Oh. How many people do you think you... I know how many I killed. Really? Yeah, I do. I tried using my full power, not holding back. Those who were hit with my fire, they were incinerated and burned to a crisp immediately. Those hit with my ice, they were frozen solid, stiff all the way through. Their hearts would have stopped within 3 seconds. I heard it. Their blood would have stopped. They would have gone brain dead the moment my eyes entered and consumed their mind. Along with that, well, you don't have to worry. Oh, no, it's not that. It's just that I wanted to know if you, well, didn't hold a grudge. Hmm? Hold a grudge? Why would I hold a grudge against a demi-human? Hmm? I don't know. You put up with me in your travels and Lee. However, you seem to have some sort of disdain for Ray. It's not that I hate Ray. It's just that I hardly know the girl. I've known you for about a year, right? I have faith in you. I have trust in you. Lee as my apprentice. She approached me as a friend. She approached me as somebody in a respectable manner. And, well, she got a bit too comfortable after being around us for a while. Then there's Ray. This girl who I've met in combat, she is obsessive. I didn't understand it about her species, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Hmm? Oh, I see. So, you don't hate demi-humans? I don't hate any species. If a person has wronged me, human or not, they'll die. If they haven't, they're innocent. However, I can't just turn a blind eye to whenever somebody pisses me off or I piss someone else off. There's a matter to it. Why? Well, I was just curious. 6,918. Hmm? What? What is that? That number? That's the number of demi-humans I killed 2 weeks ago. Now, Bell does look at Midoriya quite shocked. How does he know exactly? Because I have a skill that tracks it. A skill that tells me that number. It's, well, surprising to me, too. I've almost killed 8,000 people. 8,000? Yeah. And that's a lot of blood on my hands. But I can't just ignore it. I seek to do something with this world. I seek to make it one where ignorance, hate, greed, and malice, well, they're emotions people can express. However, they would rather not. A world where they can be kind to each other. That's what I strive for. It's what I wish to make. And I do have plans to make a world like that. However, there are a few problems. I might have to make that world by force. Carve my way through every single nation and exterminating everybody like that. If it means that I am bathed in a river of blood, an ocean even, I will make that dream a reality. Now, Bell does look at Midoriya, as he does look down at one of his hands. And she is actually going to reach out for it. Oh, okay, but may I make a request? Hmm? What is it? My family, we used to have a town that was uh, on the way to the capital. I wish to know if it still stands. Hmm? Still stands? I thought you were born in that country. No, I wasn't. I was smuggled across. Back before the war gained new extremes. Hmm, I see. Yes. Now, Belle would explain a bit about her origin to Midoriya. the town she once lived in with her family was nice and beautiful. They hunted, they made livings there. However, they were a small little place. And then humans came into their territory and began to at least smuggle away and steal demi-humans. Both of her parents, they were killed. And she and some of her family members were enslaved. Now, Midoriya would look up at that, asking Belle if she does have a brother or a sister. I have a few siblings. I'm the youngest of all of us. My sister, my brother, they're both twins. They're around the age of, I believe, 17, 18. We were so young whenever I was taken. It was something I wish to not remember. All I know is I was taken to that nation, high priced for a demi-human. And, well, everything started. After the war started, I was seen as a higher level of property. I was enslaved. I had my collar bound. Her going to grab at her neck. Talking about how, and then eventually Oswald did buy her. And she was raised and trained the way he wanted. The slave dealer that he bought her from breaks their wills before they're even put on the market. And it's something that she does not wish to recognize. Now, Midoriya he would look directly at her, informing her that they can at least head that way tomorrow. Really? Yes, we can. Now, Belle, she has been a cry. As you do have Midoriya who does just go to sit up. Standing up onto his knees as he does then lean forwards and go to reach out. Now, Midoriya he directly does put a hand on her shoulder. Belle looking up at Midoriya as her body does freeze and she does somewhat jump. Now, she does directly stare at him. His face, the one of a broken man. She saw it once before many times. The expression and emotionlessness in his eyes, that's somewhat gone. Midoriya he does show, well, a lack of something there. She can't quite tell what it is, but she knows that it's still there. And Midoriya he does just do one thing. Him pulling her forwards and into a hug. As she just does begin to start weeping and crying. And we do have Lee, who she's currently facing away from the situation. And she's giving the two some privacy. However, she does know that, well, the girl, she's been through some things herself. However, she didn't know to what extreme. She thought that she lived peacefully in that nation before it happened, not knowing that she was a foreigner herself. Now, this long war that both sides have been fighting, it both does disturb her and anger her, but there's not really much she can do about it. She took up the sword at a young age, especially because she wanted to free demi-humans. And she had to be strong and fight. It's what her clan stood for. And it's what her pack would have wanted. Now, we do actually then have the next morning, where Midoriya and everybody, they do head out. Them walking the direction that Belle has informed them of. Now, as all of them do head that way, we actually do have Midoriya who's, at least, wondering a bit about it. This small little town. It must be a nice place. It has to be a place where people must live together peacefully. Now, eventually they do head in town. Belle being surprised that the place it's gotten a whole lot bigger. And we do have Midoriya. He expected a farming village and, well, a place where cattle were grown. Not understanding that this place has become, at least somewhat of a military base, and a larger city. Now, Midoriya he does walk into the city walls and see the entire area. This is quite strange. The place has been fortified with wood, and the walls are made of logs. Along with it, there are guards wearing primitive equipment. However, it is interesting. Now, we do actually have Midoriya, who, as they are all walking through, people are staring at him, and some even give him a funny look. Now, we do actually then have where Midoriya, after walking around the city a bit more and trying to get some information, there is at least something going on. The knights of the region are at least looking for recruits and asking if somebody want to join their ranks. Now, many are having sword battles, and at least showing off their skill. And Midoriya he does actually see an arena or a small little fighting area where this is going on, as he does dismiss himself from these three and walk over. Now, Midoriya he does walk over, as you do actually have where the man he does strike down his opponent with a training sword. The person being sent flying backwards and smashing into the ground, as you do actually have Midoriya, who he does look directly down at this person, who they do see him and go to sit up. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Don't worry about it. I'm curious about this little arena. You're fighting as a swordsman. Yes, I am. I wish to seek and better myself with this weapon. Now, Midoriya he does see this person. They have horns, and he's assuming that they're at least some sort of species. They do look similar to an Oni's. However, at the same time, they're not. They seem to be made of a different material. Okay, boy. Ready to say, holding out his hand and asking him for that weapon. Now, the man he does stare up at Midoriya, and Midoriya he does see him. The man, well, he does have traits of what he believes is a pig. The way his ears are and the snout he does carry on his nose. Now, the man he would inform Midoriya. If he does wish to join their ranks, they do take capable young men just like him. The boy he does seem to be in quite a good amount of shape. No, I'm fine. I am curious to test your strength, however. Now, the man he does look at Midoriya. Him smugly saying that he's the best swordsman they do have in the region. The region? Yes. Best one in the city. In fact, if I do have to boast, I might even be the best one in this side of the nation. Or at least the, well, land around here. The land. Okay. So, I do have a few questions I did want to ask you. Sir, this area is specifically for training, and at least sparring against people. Questions are not permitted. Alright. Ready to say. Him going to bring up the weapon and point directly at the man, as he does then bring his arm directly behind his back, as he does then go to bring up one of his legs, informing the man that if he does beat him like this then, can he have some information? Really? You intend to beat me just like that? Well, all I have to do is wait for you to charge in and strike. In fact, I can end a battle like this with you in one blow. Alright, fine. However, now, the man does talk about how Midoriya, he's a big bad wolf, isn't he? He can close his eyes, fully does care, and only use one arm. He'll still win. Midoriya bringing down his leg. Informing him that if he does win like that, will he inform him of everything he does want to know? Sure, whatever. Now, the man, he does want to at least show his crew that Midoriya, yeah, arrogance will not be rewarded. The man going to rush forwards and strike against Midoriya. Midoriya just bring up the training weapon, as he does then go to block his strike. Him then going to, well, force his arm upwards into the side, as he does then go to blow the guy's sword directly down into the ground. Midoriya then going to bring up his weapon, as he does flip it in his hand, as he does then go to strike the man directly in the neck. Now, as Midoriya does strike the man, he does then step backwards and hold up the blade. As he does then watch the man, as he does open his eyes, hit the ground. Now, all of his men are quite surprised. Midoriya going to jab the training sword down into the ground, as he does then to go to check on the man, bending down and asking him if he's still conscious. And Midoriya he does at least listen and try and wake up the man. Yeah, this guy's unconscious. And here I was holding back. Now, people do hear Midoriya. He just took out their strongest commander. And he did it in, 2 moves with his eyes closed? This is insane. Now, after the man does wake up, Midoriya, he does talk to a few people. And begin to learn a bit more. Apparently there's a situation in this nation. And it's not as cut and dry as Midoriya he did at least think. The current nation? Yeah. He knows that they're allied together. And currently, with the way the war is against humans, or at least the nation Midoriya came from, yeah. They're all under the charge of a few of the former kingdom's leaders. They've all banded together and made an independent nation that is at least in the center of everything. It gives the orders out to each nation, and then they do start to at least make headway with working together in unison. Meaning that they're basically one giant country. So people, they have given it its own unique name. However, it's not recognized as the same way. Now, the city, or at least nation, has been like that for almost 7 years. And eventually a lot of stuff did stick. So, they sort of had no choice but to at least see it as that way. Now, you do actually have the men who they do actually go to ask Midoriya a few questions themselves. Asking what a black wolf is doing in the city. Passing through. Really? It's quite rare to see one of your species. Really? Sorry. What are you talking about? You alright, young man? Have you been living under a rock? No, I'm just, usually by myself. That's an unordinary habit. I mean, most of your clan was wiped out, was it not? Now, Rueda stared at the man in shock, jumping up and slamming his hands down on the table. What? Young man, you didn't know? Your clan, they sent warriors. And, they participated in the war efforts. This must have been whenever you were still a youngling. Now, Midoriya he does hear the men explain. Apparently these black wolves, they were believed to be entirely wiped off the face of the planet. They fought and fought and fought, sending every strong man they had into battlefields. And, the numbers, they begin to shrink. And then, packs suddenly, or mysteriously, disappeared from their homes. Midoriya already assuming what this does mean. As we do have where he does meet back up with the others. And at least think about what he's heard. This place is far away from the border. However, there is still a chance that humans may have attacked. So, this is quite strange. Now, Midoriya knows that he's seen as a celebrity here. And the fact that he's already in the city and has his face known, If he suddenly changes colors, people will get suspicious. So he's stuck as a black wolf. Now, with that being said, I do believe that this is a good point to leave this part off of. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.